Once again, good morning, everyone. A pleasure for this session. I'm Joseph Tishimire. Um, I have prepared this session together with Kenneth Mbeyo in charge of capacity development within Indigenous Africa. And for those who didn't join before, it will be a pleasure to start by introducing Indigenous Africa and in general. And of course, later on, we start the topic of the day, which will be uh, water resources and flood risk mapping in Somalia. So initially, in Africa, I started, I think, there are 5 years, and we were born from Josens, Australia, from the district of Australia, and the idea was to uh, capitalize the potential of fully available EO datasets um, from different providers, especially the USGS, that's the United States Geological Survey, that provides land search archives, and also the ESA, that's the European Space Agency, that provides both the Sentinel-1 and 2 currency 3 and 5P datasets. And so what we did is to create a public infrastructure and host all those archives in analysis data format to allow governments to use them that inform different initiatives related to climate change mitigation, food security, and all SDGs in general. So thanks to the collaboration with our partners across the continent, especially our IPs, national space agencies, and so on, we were able to develop several products and services, and that were validated at regional scale. Among them, we can mention the geomads called the free mosaics, crop land extent map, fractional cover, and climatology, just to monitor the crop health trends and phenology. The water observations from space for long-term water monitoring. That's the one we're going to discuss about today mostly. Even the coastlines, which should be the topic of the before last day, that shows us how we can monitor the trend of African coasts and even the impact of coastal erosion on both coastal infrastructure and ecosystems. So the idea was to transform data into two insights, kind of converting data into reliable information that could inform several initiatives and policies across the continent. And we cover those continents through an open data cube approach. You can just run your analysis for your area of interest. And the most important that we have developed several GitLab notebooks that are free accessible, and you have to just download them, or even if you're not in program, you can just specify the location and the time scale, then run the analysis either on the cloud or using your PC. Among the products I mentioned, there are so many, but today we'll be focusing on the water observation from space and the water body service that we're about to inform decisions related to water resource management, even to building a flood resilient community across any country on the African continent. For example, the WOFs, that water observation from space, it's a product that will derived from Landsat archives, providing the summary on water extent, and this is a good information that could inform the presence and the recurrency of water in Africa. And It's a good tool to help countries to map, visualize, and manage water resources by better understanding trends over time. So when we try to see to have some examples, this was the case of Shibele, Somalia, trying to understand the water extent over years for our region or through the East Africa maps. You can see that in 2000, the extent was a little bit limited. 2015, the region was becoming more flooded, and the average water coverage in 2024, so it was increasing. And that meant that the reddish areas to the orange area, those temporary water. And then what you can see, it's that this region is most of times uh, flooded. And if I try to go to the East Africa maps and share the link, I can use the link and share it with you. Sorry it. I copy the link to share it with the whole team. So this is our region. We post it into the browser up here. So I can also share the link with you in the chat to see how it looks in the Africa maps. I've shared the link with you in the chat, and what you can see is if I try to deactivate everything, this is our study area. This is our region. I've shared the link in the chat, and the location is here. Just on a click, you can also copy the location and share it with the team in the chat. Then we can explore our datasets within the Africa platforms. And I told you we have a lot of datasets, but for water resources, we have the surface water. And for this surface water, if we can go together, you go to the Africa maps and you type map dot dot Africa. I paste the link to the maps, and if you go inside our region, you can go to the Explorer, then you can go to water. You can choose the water observations from space and your summary. And for our region, this is 2024, but we can either choose the water frequency that gives the extent in blue and the dark blue, but also you can use the frequency to understand the temporary and the permanent water in a visual way. But you can also do a comparison. You can compare, and let's compare maybe 2015 to 2024. This is 2015, this is 2024. 2015, 2024. You can see that the whole western area was flooded. Have been flooded, and even some water bodies remain there. It seems that it will to have permanent water bodies. So I can share the link with you so that just on one click, you can see what I am seeing. So this is one way to see the water extent, but also uh, we can remove everything and go explore how we can also monitor water. With this water body service, this is a service that could show you how we can uh, some water bodies across any region. So you can see there are some permanent water bodies like this one, and there are others which may be temporary and so on. And just on a click, this product, you can see its description by clicking on about, and the specification for this water body product could be found here, and you can use this URL just to connect using your classic softwares. So I share the specification in the chat, and you can go to explore. And of course, our water bodies are here. You can just choose one water body, maybe this one, and just on a click, we can expand, and now can see the time series on wet water in square meter over time, and also the percentage of wet water. You can see that our water body was a little bit dry from 1994 to 2010. A slight increase 2014, decrease 2015 stable, and 2022 21 you can say is the maximum. And then we can uh, have the idea on how this water body behaves over time. Then you can also download the raw data, and which will be mostly shown in CSV files. You can see this is the water body, the description there of the water body, the unique identifier for water body, and the last observation was 11th October of this year, and the last valid observation date was March last year, and you can see how to update it. Then we can also download either this water body either in JSON format, or we can even export the time series in CSV, or we can just even take a screenshot of this water body. Maybe if we have to use an internal report, then you can directly insert what you find in a report. And this was the second way of exploring the water extent using graphical maps. The third one is we can use our geomads, for example, maybe Sentinel-2 geomads, and then we can choose a water index with the normal difference water index or the modified normal difference water index. Those are indices that could be help to monitor our water extent in a given region. So if we keep almost our region, you can see that this is 2024, but you can trace back in the past and see how maybe our region was behaving. You can trace, maybe you can do a comparison between 2017, for example, and 2024, and see if there's, for example, for this water body, 2017, you see there was no flood, but for our region, 2024, the region is very flooded. If we use our Sentinel to geomads. And also I share the same link in the chat. So that's what extent, and I hope everyone was able to at least scroll down for one water body in the region and see how can understand the 20 water extent and use the 3 products, the water observation from space and the water bodies service, and lastly, the Sentinel-2 geomat. And if I go back to the presentation, so this was the water body I was talking about. This product is very robust because people were claiming, how shall we get the water statistics on the water on an annual basis? Even some people wanted to have some shape files. That's why we processed the data sets and identified above 700,000 water bodies, and we're able to provide changes in water extents over the past decades. And so through this product, users can view and analyze time series of surface water extent, changes in water bodies on over the past 3 decades until today, and also monitor and understand the impact of extreme events and plan for appropriate action. So this kind of demonstration, and I share the specification of the products within the chat for people like to understand more. So this is what I was showing a few minutes ago, and also you can download the shape files so that you could maybe work from your PC, maybe download raw data and then share the links and the specifications are there. And of course, I want to come back to these kinds of interfaces because we talked about them last time. But the good thing is that when you go on works, we have a lot of aspects for water resource monitoring. We have a lot of notebooks that were developed for this purpose. We can monitor the water extents, we can understand the seasonality, we can understand the water quality in terms of total spent matter, TSM, and also the chlorophyll content as indicator of eutrophication of lake water.
Mr. Joseph,
Yes, please.
some of the participants still need your acceptance. You have to allow them to join.
Oh, okay, okay. Yes, so let me work on this. I can see there is one guy, Steny Abitio. Okay, I've already admitted him. Thank you for this. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So all these services were developed just to make sure that we can monitor water in all aspects. And currently, there was a notebook that was used to monitor the water quality. This is also available within the Africa platforms. Now, all the notebooks on water are many, and we can monitor the wetlands in Africa, trying to use the wetland insight tool to understand the trend in water extent, vegetation extent, even the dry ground, even the bare soil. So all the steps were well documented in a notebook, from description, steps, location folder, input data, and target SDG. The water extent using the WRFs for long-term monitoring, even Senate 2 for the seasonality is there also. And the reward example further, the profile monitoring, that we have to understand if there is algal bloom that may be a result either of urban pollutants or even um, household wastes and even fertilizers for agricultural zones, and all of this are very well documented.
Mr. Joseph, sorry, there is someone else in the outside in the class. If you
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to have a look at this as I'm presenting, so thank you. I try to keep an eye on this. And also we can monitor water quality using the total suspended matter, just to understand the sedimentation in water using several indices. All those notebooks are free, accessible, and though here we have some examples how we can try to understand the water extent. If there is a loss, that's the disappearance of water. If there is appearance, disappearance means that the water is shrinking, while the appearance means there is flood, and you can compare year by year, and you can see for our periods Lake Chad had gained more water extent rather than the disappearance. Also, the Lake Tanganyika is an example. You can do a change detection, see where they have water appearance, even where we have water appearance. It is also the case of Lake Boringo, where you see all the blue areas. They are flooded areas for a period of study that varies from 2018 to 2021. But once again, we are working in Somalia, and we have examples for Somalia, and we can try to understand the change in water extent and the change over time, either through animations, but also um, trying to understand the impact of climate change on water resources in a given region. So this is an example of one lake in Botswana when we were able to trace back the chain water extent in collaboration with this Professor Kerebogire, and this informed and integrate the water management plan in Kovango Lake. But I've done this using uh, the um, the D Africa uh, the East Africa maps. But now let's try to understand this using the sandbox. Once again, the sandbox, if I go back, the sandbox, not that the sandbox is the sandbox is a temporary uh, 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 space for data analysis, but it is not a permanent storage. And whenever you type in your chat or in the browser, you type uh, www.sandbox.livestock.africa. I've shared the link with you in the chat, assuming that everyone now has access to the sandbox. You either uh, sign up if you don't have an account, and you can fill in all this information, and after an activation code will be sent to you just to start enjoying the capabilities of uh, the sandbox. And this is once this is done, if we have your account, you just log in You put your email, you put your password, and once again, an OTP we sent to you just via your email, just to allow you to log in into the sandbox and enjoy the free computation space, even the pre-developed notebooks. As I already have um, the sandbox from my end. So let me exit the full screen. As I have the free sandbox from my own, going to a moment, please. Try to uh, share my screen once again. Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. So I have the sandbox already open for my end, and when I open the sandbox, first of all, there is a landing page that talks about how the sandbox works. And for the sandbox, when it opens, there is this page. So there is the info page, there is the SDGs, there are thematics. First of all, for the SDGs, notebooks are classified by each SDG. The one SDG indicators, like for the ones for go to end hunger, and there are several indicators. There is the goal 6 that is emphasizing on water monitoring, and especially this is the one that will be covered by our session. And all notebooks are grouped by SDG indicators, but also we have the thematic whereby uh, all the notebooks are grouped by themes. Among the themes, we have what you call the theme on water, surface water, and this is the theme we'll be covering today. And all these notebooks you can see here were pre-developed either to work on water extent and even water quality at both national, sub-national, regional, even continental level. And I encourage you, before do analysis, to check on this list to see which notebook should be suitable uh, for your analysis. And as I said, most of the notebooks we'll be using are located in this folder are called the old examples. I've depleted them. Please ignore all the notebooks, but we'll be mostly using three notebooks. The first one is water extent using WOFs. That should be the water observation from space. This should be the notebook we'll be using. Water extent WOFs. I hope most of you are following together with myself. Mohammed, we were working together at least to see if we can do one example together and have the results at the end of the session. Is everyone in the sandbox?
Yeah. Please make sure everybody
Yes,
go
we can read it.
sandbox.
Yeah, just we are on the way.
Oh, great. Please let me know if I'm going fast because it's better to do one or two examples together and they be enough rather than myself showcasing everything. So, uh, for the sandbox, it's better uh, you you duplicate the notebook and name it so that you won't forget the where you were. And once again, sandbox is a temporary that cloud computing environment, and you want to preserve your changes between sessions. Before you close, you log out from any session. Either you download your notebook and keep it in a safe place, or you can even synchronize your sandbox with the GitHub account, the GitHub repository, that you could always push changes just for backup. Otherwise, whenever you log off, you log out of your sandbox, you use you lose all the changes. So make sure you always backup. And what you do, you can duplicate, right click, duplicate the notebook, and this duplicate, for me, I've named it as Somalia because I was testing the notebook. So after you name it, you just double click on it and it's open like the one I have here. And once this is well duplicated, what you do, you can start from the beginning. I show you how the original notebook looks like. Each notebook, as we saw last time, has a title, letters to be used, the keywords, the background will be contributing to the indicator, the indicator 6.6.1. That is change in water extent and related ecosystems. And this indicator has four components: water extent, quality of water, the quantity of water, even the health or state of ecosystems. This notebook will only focus on the first one, on water extent. And we'll be using this WOFs dataset. I told you that these WOFs or datasets, they are underwater summaries that were derived from Sentinel-2 archives. No, I mean Landsat archives from 1980s to nowadays. If there is for long-term water monitoring, but also we want to understand the scenario, we'll be using the Sentinel-2 water extent notebook that should be uh, in the same practice. So first of all, we should load our packages to be for the analysis. We connect to our open data cube. You import uh, some function to analyze some numbers, to do the tables, to deal with the spatial data, or to create plots, to display images, to specify colors, and to produce graphs, and to do the geometry. From the Africa, we import the function to calculate indices, display maps, and do animations, to convert from raster to vector, and vice versa, and also to define the area of interest. And we go into the data cube and use the function our water extent and the parameters. Once or we always define the study area. And if I go to the one for Somalia, we are already here. So what I did, I defined the parameters for Somalia, and that way we have this a coordinate, latitude, longitude, and even the buffer zone. I paste it in the charts. You can copy and replace this line immediately. And of course, we should have a clear timeline. Once again, if we have a clear polygon, you can also explain your studio using this function. You just unfreeze it and finally using your vector. And this is very good. It could help us to avoid um, areas we don't want. And we can view what we did on the interactive map. And to do this, we should first of all restart kernel and clear all outputs. A kind of um, a kind of uh, resetting our analysis and start from zero, run one cell after another. So when we start our kernel, you see in front of each cell there is nothing. So we can run one by one. Just click run or take the control enter of your keyboard. And the first one is run. We imported the packages. We are connected to the data cube and find the application. That's the second cell. And cells are run in chronological order. So that we won't lose any. Sorry, any question? Okay, okay. The third cell is should be to define our study area. Then you run it. Make sure you type this coordinate I've shared with you in the chat. I hope you can see it is very well. This is the coordinate I've shared with you in the chat. And make sure that the start date you take 1990, while the end the year should be 2024. Also, I put it in chat just for everyone who's following to make sure that we are on the same page. And we can view our location on an interactive map. We run the fourth cell and you can see this is our location in which we are working on. And we can load the WOF's annual summaries archives. We load them. They can be faster or take a short time depending upon the internet connectivity. That's why I had run the notebook before just to save enough time. And you can see that you have 35 time series from 1990 to 2024. Actually, they are 36 minus 1. Goes back from 0 to 35. And we can rasterize our study area. Then we can plot the images we've chosen. I try to choose interval 4, but you can choose whatever images you want. Try to display a time series maps for a study area, and you can see this 1994. You can see 2006. The area was very flooded, but also 2024. The area is flooded too. While 2022, it was maybe the year was very dry, while 2010 the same thing, and we can run some animations just to this animation help you to see visually how our water body has been behaving over years, uh, over the last approximately 3 decades. And then we can calculate the water extent. So the threshold means that it separates water and non-water. Anything below 0.2 is considered as non-aquatic. Something beyond is considered aquatic. And remember that to relate water is the normalized difference water index calculated from Landsat images. Then we can run cells after one and have a plot that shows how the fluctuation of water extent for our area. We can try to identify when did we have the lowest water extent, the smallest water extent, where did we have the largest water extent. Then you can run this cell, even uh, uh, this shows that this was the lowest was let's put then so that everyone could see visually. July 2022 has the lowest water extent, while July 2006 has the largest water extent. We can compare. I tried to compare 2024 and 2019, and when I plotted the area, you can see the flood has increased considerably between 2024 and 2019 and 2023. And I can calculate the changes and see whether there was drought, that's water disappearing, or whether there was flood, that was the water appearing, even visualized on a plot. No water to water, actually around 111 square kilometer were flooded in our region, and while 28 or more 29 square kilometer lost the water coverage. And overall, we can see that the flood area between the 2 years, 2019 and 2024, was approximately 80 uh, 80 square kilometer. And this is very feasible within the Africa sandbox and can have these statistics. And now the question that is to the audience is this true for the region or for area of interest, or the analysis were not close to the realities? Is that true that the region is getting flooded if we compare 2019 to 2024? Anyone? Any idea on this? Please, you can unmute your mic, even type in the chat if this makes sense. Otherwise, you can go back and cross check. Okay, thank you. And also, we can start to understand the idea of seasonality using the other notebook, which is called water extent, but using Sentinel-2. So you go to the sandbox water instance in here to notebook. You once again duplicate, give it a name. I named it water instance in here to Somalia. Then we can start our analysis. The processes are the same as for Landsat data. So, but we'll be using Simulate 2 archives. The steps are the same. We'll be using the modified normal difference water index as a proxy of water extent for the presence of water in general. We will be importing the packages as we did initially. The same function for what the known as the water extent. We define our study area. And for us to be a little bit quicker, we can go to kernel and start kernel and run all cells. And each cell will be run one after another in a chronological order. So anyone with a comment on the first notebook on what instance using the WOF's products, if there is any, please feel free to unmute your mic and ask the question. So I've run the notebook automatically in a chronological way, and now our study area will be, I want to share it with you, the same as here as one we used. So you can copy the same study area, but what you do, I worked on a time scale from 2017 to 2025 October, because now we are in November, even the first week, and Sentinel-2 provides one image approximately per week, almost 5 to 6 images per month. That's why I said until October, because now we are in November. So we can load data sets, and now we have 638 time series for images, and you can adjust our data sets to this of a study area, and you can calculate the water index using the function calculate indices available within the Africa, and then we can sample of our seasonal medians, and this could take a little bit longer, because imagine we are sampling uh, 658 images, but that's not a big problem because I've been proactive. Then I can go back to the presentation. To the present Before I go to the presentation, also I can show you.
Joseph,
Yes, please.
yeah, thank you. Before you proceed the presentation, please, you have used 0.28, I think. It's a scale, right? So what is the idea behind the using 0.28?
Is it scale or
Is it the
when
scale
exactly?
or what is the parameter? I mean, you have used it at 0.28, right?
On buffer or where exactly? Okay. In the parameters, which cell?
Is it the scale 0.20 or 28?
I'm just having a look at it. Actually, the measures are in degrees, right?
I think,
So,
yeah, I think it is the image. You want to decrease the image, I think.
um, create query. Okay, let me see. Roster area of interest. This is no median. Which cell is that?
Okay, wait.
I'm trying. Is it
The
not?
moment I saw, I just wanted to ask you, but I didn't. I didn't want to interrupt the class. You know.
Yes, but I was showcasing two notebooks, the one on the wolves. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was done. Um, I'm trying to see what is okay. This is the location parameter, the resolution is there, the projection frequency, pixel with pixel. It's a kind of making a memory a little bit later for the animation, and for the calculation.
Yes, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. The water threshold 0.20. Do you
Yes,
see?
yes,
Yes.
yes. Actually, this threshold is the because we are based on we are using the water index. This is the normal difference water index that ranges from 0 to 1. It means that everything below 1 can't in any case be water. That's why we say everything be above 0.2 classified as water, but everything below 0.2 classified as other land uses. So this is threshold, but not to the scale.
So it is a kind of classification for water and the land scale, right?
Yeah, it's a way of uh, defining, doing a binary classification, water and
Mhm.
then water. So
So
and,
below 1, I think it is noted as water, right?
below 0.2, not below
0.
1,
Oh,
is not
oh,
is not water, and
mhm.
beyond 0.2, that is water. Is we are using this index, this this range from 0 to 1. Right? It means that below 0.2, it can't be water in any case, but beyond, it can be water. Although, if you go towards 1, the water is permanent, but around 0.2 to 0.4, even 0.5, the water may be temporary. Uh, Is it that clear with you?
Yes, I got it. Thank you for your
Thank you too.
clarification. Okay.
Shukran. So when you go back to the Sentinel-2 data set, now it is, we can see the time series. It is giving us 4 seasons, right? From December to February, from March to end May, from June to end August, and from September to end December. And here you can understand the idea of seasonality, and see you can see that the last 2 seasons have a large water extent. I think they are the rainy seasons actually, if we can see on the chart, and you can understand the seasonality. And here you can see that the 4th season of 2023 has a higher water extent. The same applies for the 4th season of 2020, the 3rd season of 2020, and so on. But the most important thing, you can do also animation by season, and they also we can do annual aggregations, and with some ideas on seasons, and also we can identify the timeline with a low or water coverage, like here, if we compare the 2022 was the driest, while 2020 was the wettest water. And you can compare, hey, compared 2020 and 2024. 2024 is just flat compared to 2020. And we can also produce a plot, and you can see that if you compare 2024, there were some flooded areas that were no longer flooded. And once again, this is a way to understand water extent using different platforms. But here we have been using what you call optical sensors, which could face some changes related to clouds over time. But we can try to also use the radar sensors, especially a Sentinel-1 image from the European Space Agency. And we have a notebook called radar water detection. This one, radar water detection, you can open it and have a look. I tried to use it for to try to estimate the water extent in our study area. And sorry, this shouldn't be for Sweden actually, because it was the coordinates from for Somalia. What I can do, I can start kernel and run OSS, but meanwhile, what we'll be seeing is that using this should be somewhere in Sebele, the same water bodies we were working on, we can detect the water extent and using the average source classified as water, but also we can once again even go further to statistics, and you can see how the water extent looked. And of course, for radar, we should be able to see which polarization we can use to map either water extent or even water and non-water. Also, we can compare some water extent mapping using any of the approach, either using Sentinel datasets or either using the WRF's data, and also combine with the rainfall. And you can see like a positive correlation between water extent and rainfall. And this also, if we're able to maybe quantify disaster or losses related to floods on the ground, maybe it should be a good added value. And this I said about qualifying water extent. This was using the WRF datasets. Those were examples from other areas. But for our study area, what I've showcased using the DAfrica platforms for the Shebele River, the Shebele area. So it shows how using the Sentinel-2 dataset, we can understand both the seasonality, but also do some change detection and produce statistics on time series on water extent. The same using the WRFs, what I showcased a few minutes ago. We can, in addition to this time series, we can also be able to produce nice time series statistics and even do some change detection for a specific area. And of course, we can also use the water analysis tool with the DAfrica. We can work on some wetlands or some water bodies and specify the timeline, and then be able to produce this nice graph showing the trends in water extent, the trend in vegetation, the trend in which areas, even the trend in vegetation in bare soil. The idea that if the water is gaining the extent, even the aquatic vegetation around is kept constant, then our ecosystem is well preserved. And this function is also available within the Africa platforms, and you can work and analyze this on an area not beyond 50 square kilometers. We can also monitor the profile content, especially trying to understand the profile content in water, and produce a term series on profile content is a proxy for eutrophication or algae blooming in water. And this tool was some of the examples, guess Lego, Turkana in Kenya, and you can see that how can see the level of pollution varies for some extent. Here it is enough, but here it's below the edge, even the southern part of Lake gas, which is very important for water supply in Dakar, Senegal. So we can also use our Africa maps to understand the profile content. This is the profile content for this Cran William Dam in South Africa. But also we can use the water body to a certain extent. This research, we can also try to combine the rainfall, surface water bodies, extent, and this animation in terms of water surface over time. And we can try to understand the math rainfall and water extent and combine them on graphs and to understand the impact of climate change, even seasonal variability on water extent. And the same applies for all areas. I try to combine these animations and water extent, and this could be done in Somalia, in Somalia, in Tanzania, and other countries as well. So there are several courses on water extent, but before I go back to the courses, just a short demo on how we can use our Africa maps. We can, for a given water body, even for this region, we can make there, we can add our Sentinel-2 geomads, and then to assess the profile in water over this normal difference profile index. And this could show us that for our water body, of course, it is the level of profile is high, especially towards the edge, even especially in some temporal water bodies. We can once again check our water body here, which is on which you worked using Sentinel-1 dataset. This one, Balkad Nature Reserve. We can copy these coordinates and paste them into the Africa map. Yes, I think. Yes, this is the area, and you can see how it behaves over time. We can also do a comparison among years, maybe 2017 and 2024, and see how the pollution in this water body was. This is 24, this 2017. 2017, even the extent was very small. Although 2024, the water body is a little bit large, and the profile content also had it as well. I can share this with you, and also we have some notebooks that could deal with this water monitoring. So some courses on water resource management for improved agriculture, collaboration with UASA, available on our platforms. And of course, this combines the soil moisture, uh, rainfall, evapotranspiration, and others to inform water availability. So some tutorials available in French and English. A lot of courses available online. So you can do them at your own pace. And of course, we try to connect with the users across the continent via different ways, like live sessions, help desk, dissemination via our websites. Even you can reach out to us via our help desk. We thank partners, especially the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation and the Somalia Statistics, who have been very collaborative in our initiatives in Somalia, especially for this one. We thank the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation, and you can anytime reach out to us, and you are the most welcome. And over to you, Mohammed, for comments, discussion, inputs. Over to you. Once again, thank you, everyone. And I'm ready to share the training materials. Once we are done, I compile everything and send back to you via email. Even those videos are recorded and kept on shared via our YouTube channel, just for people to use them in their future. Thank you, everyone. And before we close the session, one thing I should highlight is that the sandbox doesn't store your changes after the session. Better you either download your notebook and save it in a safe place. And then before you start another session, you can upload your file and continue enjoying the analysis. Thank you, everyone, and over to you, Mohammed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. And let me ask the others if they have comment, discussions, or whatever they wanted to add. Please, guys, welcome. Please drop your comments. Hello.
Hello.
Mohammed, that means if everyone is silent, that means no comment or no question, I think.
Okay. Thank you. If there's no question, then I think Muhammad can call the session, and we meet next time for I think the fellow session. Where is that?
Thank,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. And I would like to thank all the participants